Hi everyone, this is Patty Mold from Twisberg Technology, and today we are going to learn a little bit more about Freckle, how to log in, take a look at the teacher dashboard, as well as make a class and update a class. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to freckle.com. Now each of your individual building websites might have a link, but you can just type it into your URL as well. And then you're going to come up here to the top right corner and click where it says sign in. Choose teacher, and that will take you to the next page where you will see the option to sign in with Google. Here in Twinsburg, we are rostered through Google and Google Classroom. And so you want to go ahead and click sign in with Google. If you are administrator, you can go ahead down here to the bottom and sign in, log in as an administrator. But most of us are logging in as teachers. So go ahead and click sign in with Google. And that's going to use your Google credentials to take you to the teacher dashboard. Now from the teacher dashboard, if you've already set up your account, you're going to see the activity feed. But the first time you're going to go to this dashboard. And the dashboard is just going to kind of give you some brief information about things you can do in Freckle. You can get your students to log in, or you can choose what your students are going to practice. And so you'll see lots of different features, and it'll become familiar as you use it. And so I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all the stuff that's over here on the left side of the dashboard. Different areas that as a teacher are going to be very helpful to you. And so you'll see information in the center, but mostly we're going to be working over here. And so let's just kind of run through these so you know what they are. The activity feed is going to be real-time data from your students as to who's doing what and what are they doing. You can actually have this open as your students are practicing. Like, let's say you're working in a computer lab and you can kind of see how they're doing. It will then also kind of color code to see the time they've spent, what they're working on, and how their scores are. Right now, I don't have a whole lot of data here because most of the students are doing other things. In the second section here is the assignments. This is where you're going to see the assignments that you create and the assignments that you're ready to assign to your students. Roster, and we'll get a little bit more in depth here in just a minute, but roster is going to be where we do our make a class as well as update or edit a class. Under the school tab here, it's just going to give some information about the school. Typically, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. And then the one thing Freckle has is this View Student App. If I click on this, this is going to allow me to go and view what a student sees. It's very helpful for teachers because if you make an assignment and you want to take a look at what does that assignment look like, this would be the way you would do it. In this area down here, you're going to have your subjects. Typically, Twinsburg has just math and language arts, but right now we have the trial for science and social studies. And if you expand the caret there, you're going to see content to get more into assigning, the standards area, as well as the reports area. And these details will be covered in another video, but just want to make sure that you know where they are. This is kind of our grand tour of the dashboard for teachers. If you come over here up into the top right corner, you should see Premium Edition account. Sometimes teachers have run into trouble where they had a personal account before. When Twinsburg moved over to the premium account, we want to make sure that you are getting all the features that our district is paying for. So it should say that up here, as well as if you click on the little down arrow here, you're going to get things like settings, if you have to change a password or additional resources, or if you need to log out. So that's where that will be located. So now let's go back and take a look at our roster. Rostering is kind of the first thing that you're going to do when we get into Freckle. And all your students are going to be rostered through Google Classroom. So before we do anything in Freckle, it is really important that you add a student to the Google Classroom, and then that student accepts or joins your Google Classroom. Essentially, what they do is they import the information from Google Classroom into Freckle, and that's what gives you your class roster. So if your Google Classroom is correct, Freckle will be correct once we update it. So let's just go and start from the beginning as far as making a new class. Here where it says jump to class, you're going to see a list of all the classes that you have. But let's say we're starting from scratch and we're going to add a new class. So we're going to click this plus sign. And first thing I want you to do is we're going to select import from Google Classroom and then say sign in with Google. What this does is it connects to your Google Classrooms, and it's going to give you a list of all your Google Classrooms that you're either a teacher or a co-teacher in. And so depending on all the ones that you're in, you may have a lot of Google Classrooms. Just give it a second to load if that's the case. So I'm going to actually scroll all the way down here till we get into some of my computer lab ones. I'm going to keep going a little bit more. Actually, let's go ahead and pick this one. I'm going to pick Mr. E's Computer Lab Google Classroom. Now, you'll notice that once I've selected this, I still don't see the Finish Creating Class button. That is because you have to go all the way down to the bottom. And so if you click on, again, it's good for you guys to see that sometimes there's little hiccups like this. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to find that classroom again. But what I want to make sure is I scroll all the way down. And depending on how many classrooms I have, it can be a while, but go all the way to the bottom and you want to see this next button. So I'm going to click next. Then what will happen is it's going to show me all of the students that are either currently in the classroom, or it will say right here, class details. And so what I want to do is first, you can give your class a name. If you want to change that name to something different, I'll go ahead and do that. You want to pick the grade level, and this would be the grade level for most of the students in the class. You may have a mixed group of students, but if you're in second grade, pick second grade, even though there might be some times you're either doing first grade or third grade materials. So I'm going to pick second grade here. Then I will see my students, and I'll be able to scroll up and down. And then finally, what I'm going to do here is just click Finish Creating Class, and it will create that class in Freckle. And it'll show me the title up here at the top, and then it'll say Get Started. Now, I'm going to go back here to add another class because I do want to show you how that we edit, or how we can, update a Google Classroom. It's really the same process. And so what you're going to do is you're going to say import from Google Classroom. I'm going to sign in with Google. And then in this case, I'm going to pick my Google Classroom. Again, I have to scroll all the way down till I get to next. And then I might have to scroll up. But this time what it will do is any students that I've added to Google Classroom between the last time that I created my Freckle Classroom, those students will show up. Now, the one thing is you can only add a student once, and so if it's a student that's already been there, go ahead and click this X just to get rid of them. You want to only have students that are new listed, and then you would Finish Creating Class, and those students would be added. You're not going to lose any information from the students that are already there because they've already been added, and it's only going to start adding those new students. So hopefully this has helped you a little bit getting started with Freckle. In our next videos, we're going to get a little more into the making of assignments and how we're going to look at the data or the reports from those assignments. So have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.